Welcome to Who Am I? This is the podcast for bilateral anophthalmia and me, where we meet many of our members who have a link to either having the condition of bilateral anophthalmia or through family members. So I'd just like to get started by saying that this first podcast is going to be with my son Toby. So over to you, Toby.
Who am I? My name is Toby Ott. I'm 34 years old. I was born with bilateral anophthalmia in June the 15th, 1989, and I love life.
So, Toby, obviously you don't remember much when you were born, because we spent many months in hospital, both at Sidcup and at Great Ormond Street. What's your first memory of being aware that you were born without any eyes?
I don't really remember that far back, but I remember once being in hospital and the fire alarms going off.
Right.
But
Did that make you jump?
can't honestly remember, it's so long ago now. But I just remember being in hospital because I think my childminders, Pauline and Diane, had come to visit at the time. But I think what brought it on for me, home for me, was learning when I started learning Braille at the age of 3.
So you was quite an early starter on Braille, weren't you?
Yeah, most people start learning when they're young, but I started when I was 3 because my VI teacher thought it was the best course of action.
And who was your initial VI person?
Jean Kavanagh?
Yeah. And do you remember Jean? You probably don't, but when you were young, Jean used to lay you down on popping plastic bubble wrap.
I don't remember
And
any
also
of that.
she used to do, where we used to undo rolls of sellotape, and you used to laugh every time you heard sellotape unwrapped.
Did I?
Yeah, you used to laugh all the time.
I do not
And
remember that
Yeah,
at all.
and it was quite funny. So obviously early years spent with mum and dad, but also you spent a lot of time, because obviously we were working, with your two childminders. Tell us about Pauline and Diane.
Oh, they were great. I used to go to their house. I used to have breakfast when I got there at like 8 a.m. And they used to have different toys. We used to do rhyme time. We used to go out to the park. I even remember making snowmen in the snow. Oh, we did so many things.
But you were the only person who was blind, weren't you?
Yeah, I was the only one.
Yeah. So how many were in the group?
I think there was the ones I remember was 6 or 7 of us total. And I'm still friends with them, very close with them now.
You are. So, we started off doing all the childminding, and then it was time for school. So, what happened for school?
I went to Our Lady of Grace. Can't remember how long I was there for, but I wasn't there my whole
No, because we
career.
moved you over and you went to another
Invicta.
school, didn't you?
Yeah, and I loved it.
And what was that called again?
It was Invicta.
Invicta. And what took place there to make it so good for being somebody who was blind? How did they integrate you into that school?
Well, they put handrails on the steps going down to the playground because Jean arranged that. She also did mobility skills with the white cane to teach me routes around the school. But she also did stuff with the other kids so that they were more aware of my blindness.
And you were fully integrated, weren't you, in that school?
Yeah, fully integrated.
Fully integrated. You had a really good time, didn't you?
Oh, I loved it. It was great.
And you've still got a friend from that school now, haven't you?
I have. Still speak to him as well.
And who's that?
Ian.
Wow.
Spoke to him the other day, actually.
Oh, good. So, and when you were at school, you had one-to-one helpers, didn't you, as well?
Yeah.
And who were they?
Miss Catherine Snashall, who sadly is...
She passed away, which was very sad.
And Carolyn Woods, who I'm still in touch with.
Yeah. What does Carolyn joke about you?
Oh, cake.
That you love cake. Yeah, you loved it then and you loved it now.
Not as much then. It's more now.
It's
really.
more now. Yeah, actually, you eat more cake now than you did then. So when you was at the primary school, did you ever go away on any trips, anything like that? Did you go away on school journeys?
Not at primary school, no.
You didn't, no. See, I couldn't remember if you did or not.
No, that wasn't until year 9
Right.
at secondary.
So you're at primary school, and then it's time to move on. And you went on to secondary school, didn't you?
Yeah.
And that was okay, wasn't it?
It was okay.
Yeah. And you got integrated there, didn't you?
Because they had a vision impairment unit.
They did. And who was also involved?
Jane Kavanagh.
Yeah. And who else? Who helped you there? Who were your one-to-ones?
Karen Young.
Yeah.
She helped me at the end of Invicta as well.
Yeah, she did.
And loads of other people.
Right.
Because there was a VI unit.
There was. In fact, it was the beginning of a VI unit, wasn't it? Because it was the first time they'd
long started, had it? I don't think.
Yeah, and obviously you were there, and there was quite a few others with vision impairments, weren't there?
Yeah, but it's all changed now, apparently.
Yeah. So, and you did school trips there, didn't you?
Did school? Well, did I?
Where did you go?
Went to the World War One battlefields in year 9.
Wow, and that was without mum and dad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you had a good time?
It was okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Found the food annoying. But
What about? Did you find it interesting?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Right. So your school years, and also being with Pauline and Di, they all went really well, didn't they?
Really well.
Yeah. I think it's also important that we mention that throughout those times you also had lots of hospital appointments, didn't you?
Loads.
And you used to see
Cars under Great Ormond Street.
Yeah.
Because of
your kidneys.
And Moorfields for my eyes.
And who did you see at Great Ormond Street?
I saw a few people. Mr. Trumpeter, I think it was, and Sarah Laderman.
That's right. And then at Moorfields, you had to see the people in the prosthetics department.
As well as Richard Collin.
And as well as Richard. So
and Nicky Ragg, I think.
And Nicky Ragg, obviously. We'll come on to Nicky Ragg. So throughout all those times, you were having fun at school. You had your friends, yeah?
Yeah.
And you was obviously having all the medical stuff done as well.
Yeah.
And that involved having new prosthetic eyes made, didn't it?
Yeah.
And you didn't have anaesthetic, did you?
No.
You just went for it. Yeah.
I think I did have anaesthetic at first, but...
Yeah, but then it changed. And what did you used to call the stuff that they used to make the moulds with?
I said it's still saying now, it's like custard.
Like custard, yeah. So you used to have custard in the eyes, which is I used to think it was quite funny, actually. So, we've now reached the end of secondary school, and a decision was made with you and us that it would be good to further your education. So where did you end up going?
Went to the Royal National College for the Blind in Hereford.
You did? And you lived in...
I lived in a hall of residence in the first year.
Yeah.
Called Campbell Hall.
Yeah.
And I had my own little room, A4, little cupboard.
Yeah. And then where did you go?
Then I went into 54, which was a house.
It was
like
a house.
A 9-bedroom house.
And who did you share that with?
Oh, 8 other people.
8 other people. So you had your own room, didn't you?
Had my own big room.
Yeah, you had a communal kitchen.
Communal lounge kitchen.
Yeah. And you all had fun, didn't you?
Yeah, it was fun, yeah.
You used to go out, didn't you?
Yeah, well, that was more in the third year. I used to go out on my own a lot and eat. Yeah. Because the food at the college was rubbish.
You didn't like the food there, did you? No.
No.
What were you studying there, Toby?
I studied Performing Arts, BTEC.
You had to do a bit of dancing, didn't you?
Not so much.
A little bit.
That was more the music side.
Yeah.
And I also did a S-level history.
Yeah. Now I think it would be right for me to say that you are a bit of a genius on your computers. You've mastered.
Oh, I love computers.
You love computers, and you mastered because you did a touch typing course as well, didn't you?
Yeah, that started at during primary school and then ended in secondary.
And how many words could you type a minute?
Can't remember now.
Was it a lot?
think it was quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
That was arranged through Jim Kavanagh as well.
Yeah. So that
and it was a really good touch typing program.
Yeah. So that was really good, wasn't
because it taught you from basic to writing whole sentences with punctuations and everything.
Yeah, which you still do, don't you?
Yeah, I still do.
Very much. So you ended up at the RNC, and then you moved on to under the University of Greenwich, didn't you?
I did.
And you studied. What did you study?
Business IT.
Business IT. And what did you end up with?
A higher national diploma.
Yeah. And where did you collect your award?
The Painted Hall, wasn't it?
It was at the Royal Naval College in Greenwich, wasn't it?
Yep.
You had your gown on?
Yeah, and I remember that day. It was really hot.
It was, wasn't it? It was.
And then we had a massive thunderstorm that night.
That's right. So you've got all of those things, and you've tried to get work, haven't you?
Yeah.
For a long time, but
I do volunteering.
This is it. You actually do voluntary work, and you've helped many game makers, haven't you?
Yeah. One of the best times of that was working with my good mate who sadly passed away last year, Al Golden.
Yeah. And you were...
he was like my mentor.
He was. And where was Al?
Colorado.
Yeah. So you got to meet Al though, didn't you?
Yeah, great guy.
Yeah. Flew out there?
Yeah, I learnt so much from him about debugging and
yeah.
testing generally. It was great.
He was a lovely man, wasn't he?
Very good, very helpful.
We got to spend time with him, didn't we, in Denver?
Yeah, and I loved it.
Yeah. And since then, it's right to say that you've been helping other game makers. You've even started your own YouTube channel.
I've got a YouTube channel called the Audio Game Club.
You have.
Which is doing pretty good. I've got over
and then you linked in with a guy called Burke, didn't you?
Yeah, I discovered Burke in 2014 because of his Final Fantasy X walkthrough, which has been a very major influence on my life as a gamer.
So you ended up playing all the Final Fantasies pretty much?
Not all, only really 10, 12 and 13. Right. They're my main ones because they were the ones that had voice acting.
Yeah.
But I watched his Burke's walkthrough of Final Fantasy IX, which had no voice acting. Great game, really good.
Yeah.
And he voice acted he read all the dialogue.
He did.
So it was.
So he made it accessible, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
And then what happened because of your relationship with Burke?
He decided that it would be great to make a documentary called Gaming Through New Eyes. So he came round. I actually had got to do my dream, which was to play Final Fantasy X with him, because it's been a big part of his life too. And we did the documentary, and it was a massive success. It's won several awards. It's been seen by 7 million people around the world. It's been in Famitsu, which is one of the biggest Japanese gaming magazines out there. And
so I can remember we went to see the concert for Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Distant Worlds.
And everybody was coming up to you outside, weren't they? They were saying, "You're Toby, you're the guy who's in the movie."
Yeah.
Yeah. So that went really well, didn't it? So in your private life, I know because I'm your dad.
And I've got to say something on that as well.
Yeah, go on.
Since Gaming Through New Eyes, a lot has changed. Because I believe because of that documentary, a lot is changing in the games industry as a whole. Because in 2020, the first fully accessible game was released on PlayStation 4 by Naughty Dog, who made The Last of Us Part 2 fully accessible, which is a massive mainstream game. And it was great to be able to play that game, especially as it was during lockdown at the time. And since then, more and more companies are starting to adopt the whole accessibility.
Which is a big step forward, isn't it, for audio description?
Well, not just audio description, but just general accessibility.
Yeah. When you're talking about accessibility, what do you love to do where it involves audio description? What things are really good for people who've got no vision or poor vision?
Well, there's audio description on TV, also in theatre with the company Vocalise, who are great. They do audio described theatre. Even in cinemas now, they have audio description.
So really, that's opened up your world, isn't it?
Yeah. And as I say, they're now adopting it into games as well.
Yeah. So what's good is we all go as a family and friends, don't we?
Yeah.
And we all go together. So we watch TV together, we watch films together, we go to the theatre together.
We do, yeah.
All because of audio description.
Yeah, I mean, we've done some pantomimes this year and they were audio described.
Did. And also, is it right, jumped out of a plane at 13,000 feet.
Yep.
Flown a glider and done a loop-de-loop.
Yep.
Yeah. Flown through the Grand Canyon.
Yep.
In fact, you've done lots, haven't you?
Yeah, love theme parks.
What was the thing when you went up in a hot air balloon? What did you say to the pilot that he thought was really good?
I can't remember now, it's so long ago.
No, he said something. You said to him, it's like being a bird. Do you remember?
I did, didn't I? Yeah.
You did, yeah. As we
no,
were flying.
that was also when we were parasailing in 97
as well. Parasailing as well, yeah. So really, and it's right to say, you've travelled a lot, haven't you? You've travelled
a lot,
all over the world with us.
Yeah.
Because we've always thought that it's important, isn't it?
Very important, yeah.
So what would you say to a mum and dad who've just had a little baby born with the same condition as you? What would you say to them?
Just enjoy life generally. Enjoy life. Take it a step at a time, and just enjoy what life has to offer, really, because there's so much out there now.
Yeah.
So much more out there.
And just to make them aware of that, isn't it?
Oh, exactly, yeah.
And there are no barriers, are there?
No.
There are none. You found that, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what was that phrase that you said?
Being blind is other people's problem. I think that was it. I can't.
Yeah, and not yours.
Not yours, yeah.
Or not mine.
Not mine.
Yeah.
So it was something along those lines.
See, I think that's quite an important thing to say.
And one thing I should probably mention, that when I was at RNC, I met a girl who is now my girlfriend.
She certainly is. And what's her name?
Justine.
So now you've got a girlfriend.
And we're planning our life.
And you're planning your life together, which is lovely. So, I think, is there anything else you'd like to say, Toby, just before we finish?
I mean, I'd love to say, please check out the YouTube channel. If
you can say that.
Please check out the YouTube channel, the Audio Game Club. Please like, subscribe. I'm currently doing a live streaming The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered.
You are.
Which is really good, because when it was released in 2020, it didn't have audio description, but it does now on the cinematics.
Well, that's good. That's good. And what's planned for this year then? What are you going to be doing this year? Anything special coming up?
In terms of what?
Anything.
Don't really know, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things happening this year that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Obviously going to different places,
Of course.
going to France.
Yeah. So really, it's all about enjoying life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And
being with Justine as well.
Yeah. And the other thing is because you do have a visual impairment, there's no barrier, is there?
No.
And I think that's important, that all mums and dads of new babies know that they can do anything, can't they?
And I want to thank you as well, Dad.
Thank you. Thank you,
because
oh, here we go. Go on.
You're great, and I also want to thank you for being my gaming partner.
I am your gaming partner.
For
what
now.
about your mum? What's your mum?
Good cook.
Good cook. There we go. Well, listen, Toby, thank you so much for doing that with me today.
No problem.
Because it's just important, and I can't think of anything else that you might like to say, but I'd just like to finish saying that Toby really has achieved.
Something we forgot to mention was about Nikki Rag.
Oh, go on then, you can mention that.
She's been doing a lot of genetic research.
Yeah.
And they actually managed to find the gene that caused the condition.
Because that's quite an important side to bilateral ophthalmia, is that as a family we found out what the gene was, which was very important to us as parents and also to the wider family.
And we waited over
Toby.
30 years, didn't we, to find it?
Yeah, it took a long time because these genes take a lot of time to find. So, again, Toby, thank you very much for being my first podcast. Thank you very much for listening. And our next podcast is coming soon with a young lady called Abby.
Who's actually a really good friend of mine.
Who's a really good friend of Toby's. So, thank you again for listening and take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, Toby.
No problem.